Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another live episode of Mamas Beyond the Matrix. We are here another Friday. We are always going to show up on a Friday. Now, what time we may show up maybe changes.
Yes.
But for right now, we're going to be showing up on Fridays. We do have families and children and schedules that may have to get altered. So I'm sure you families out there understand.
Absolutely. And so today we have a special segment and we're excited to share it because today we're going to be talking about safety and what does it mean to be safe with your families and your little ones in a city as big as Medellin is and navigating safely here in Medellin. So we're going to talk about 5 different tips that our top tips that we'd agreed on that will be really important with understanding and navigating the city of Medellin. So let's just get straight into it. We're going to start off with number 1. And number 1 is public safety, aka situational awareness.
Yes. Well, public safety, let's just start off by saying wherever you are in the world, even your home country, you have to have street smarts. Excuse me, I said sweet smart. Street smarts. Okay, you do have to pay attention to your surroundings. That doesn't mean someone is always out to get you. However, you do have to pay attention just in case, right? Mm-hmm. So same thing here in Medellin. You have to make sure you pay attention to your surroundings. Now, one thing, it may be a little bit more trickier here because people are always going to be looking and staring, and you will always have some type of attention. Now, meanwhile, in the States, a lot of times people mind their business unless something's going on, so nobody's really paying attention to you so much or too much. But here you're going to get more stares and looks because you're a foreigner. They're just interested or just like, they didn't realize you were a foreigner until they heard you speak. So it's just a little bit different. However, you still need to really kind of look around you and see what's going on. I can't say, though, that anytime I walk out the house, I feel like I'm in danger or I got to have like this extra precaution on me. I don't feel that way walking out the house.
Right.
I feel like I did in the United States. A lot of times I feel safer. Mm-hmm. So, but again, it is still that thing. And especially if we were just talking about that.
Yes.
When you have kids, it's a distraction.
Yes.
And people are capitalizing or will capitalize on that. So yes. Go ahead and talk a little bit about that.
So here, one of the things that we've had an opportunity to, I even witness this with my own eyes, is there's a lot of people think Medellin who don't live here, they think it's really dangerous and they think it's a lot of crime. And what I've come to find is there's a lot of petty crime. Like nothing really harmful, but there are some harmful things. We'll talk about that later. But that's lifestyle too. But it's typically petty things like pickpocketing and stealing phones. That's a really big thing here is stealing phones. And what they'll do is they'll target families. They know that you have your young ones around. They know that you are paying attention, or at least you should be paying attention to your little ones. And so if they come up to you and they approach you to try to steal something from you, the first thing they're going to do something as a diversion, because your first line of defense is, I need to protect my children. So be mindful of that when you are out in public, especially with your little ones. Just be on alert. And so that's just something that it comes with situational awareness. And I will piggyback on you, and I will say that I also feel very safe here. It's really being mindful when you're in places and spaces with big crowds, that you really need to have your alert and your antennas up. And I mean, I know like even in the military, they teach, not to sit with your back, facing the door. And like, these are some things that I've learned in the United States that I still bring with me wherever I go. I'm always looking for where the exits are. So being mindful of that whenever, and this tip, to be honest with you, has absolutely nothing to do with the location of Medellin, but just safety in general.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah, definitely. And I know I saw this on, I think it was on Instagram. This man was actually robbed. So that is another thing. Some people will cut your bag to take your book bag or your purse or something. So they'll cut the bag and run off with it. So this particular incident, there was a group of men. So it was a man walking down the street, and then a group of men kind of just surrounded him. So one started shaking his leg.
Yes.
That was the diversion.
Yep.
And then people start touching on you real fast, and then you don't know what's going on. And then meanwhile, they're taking your wallet out your back pocket. Yep. They're taking your bag. Like, they're doing all these different things to distract you, but they're steady pulling stuff off of you. And there's so many of them, you don't know what's going on, right? So those are the things that we're kind of talking about. Like, you got to pay attention, because you wouldn't know, like, you wouldn't think about it, especially if you're walking down the street and the street may be crowded, and then all of a sudden people just surround you. Like, that just catches you off guard. So
this actually happened to us.
This
actually happened to us.
Okay.
So we were at a market here in Medellin, a beautiful market, by the way. It's unfortunate we had this experience, but we have two young daughters, toddlers, and I had one in a stroller. My other had the other one walking with her, and he's walking with her. He's in his phone, and that's a target. That's you being in public and constantly on your phone. It's a target. You don't want to be waiting, even for your Uber, and have your phone out and looking, because there's a lot of motos and they'll come take your phone, and we'll get into that, because that's actually one of our tips. But being mindful, because that's exactly what they did. They kind of shook them down. It was like 4 or 5 men. We didn't feel threatened after that in terms of harm physically, but it was just like, man, that feeling, that feeling when somebody takes something that's so valuable to you.
You've been violated.
You've been violated.
Yeah.
So you feel that type level of violation, but that same example happened to us, and they did it because he was distracted. But not only that, the first thing he did was reach down for our daughter, which I'm so grateful that his reaction was that he reached down to make sure he's safe. And but next thing he knows, he stands up. And because he kneeled down, it made it easier for his phone that was in his pocket at the time for somebody to grab it out, because of the position he was in when he squatted down to get our daughter. So that is something that is common here, and they will target people who are distracted with their children.
Yeah. And then to your point with the phones and the motos, motos, people, and this is not everybody. So if you've never been to Medellin, motos are everywhere. Okay. Like, that is probably the most popular source of transportation when people, they rather own a moto versus a car, because it's cheaper, easier to maintain, all of the things, right? So you're going to see a ton of people riding motos.
Yes.
There are some people who you'll be walking down the street, or you'll be standing on the street. If you have your phone out, they will snatch it. They'll be on the moto. It will snatch it out of your hand and still be riding down the street on the moto. And there's nothing you can do about that. Even if you're in a car, let's just say you're in a Uber or a Didi, which is another ride share.
Yes.
You could be sitting in the car, and if the windows are down and you're on your phone, somebody can put their hand in there, grab it, and be gone. Okay. So this is why we're like really emphasizing it, because we know phones are a big deal. Right. So those are the things, like, you just really have to be cautious. I know in the car, I feel safer in the car pulling out my phone. And of course, you should feel safer, but you still got to pay attention to what's around you, even in the car. If the window is down, if the window's up, you're good. But that kind of leads to another point, though, when we're talking about transportation. So you want to get into that, or you want to continue?
So that was number 2, the phones. That was tip number 2. But yes, let's get into transportation. So number 3, our safety tip is referring to transportation. So when it comes to transportation, myself being a mother of young children, when you leave the United States and you go out of the country and to Mexico, to here in Colombia, and to several other countries, it will be an adjustment, because you will see rarely any car seats. I'll say that again. Rarely any car seats. And it's okay. Not only that, one of the strangest things you will see families and young children on the motos with their mom or their dad, and they're small children, like barely sit up, and they'll be on the motos. And so that's one thing to get used to. So safety when you're driving in a vehicle is basically making sure that your children are secure on your own, either buckling them up in a seatbelt and making sure that they're secure, because seatbelts are not really made for those small bodies. So maybe just cross their hips or holding them tight. But usually we're not traveling far distances. But it's just not a common thing here, and it's not a law that they enforce. Even if it is something that's here, I'm not sure if it's a law or not, but it's not something that's enforced at all. So you will see a lot of families with their children without car seats in vehicles and motos.
Yes. Also, my kids are a little bit older, so sometimes the cars don't have seatbelts that are available.
That's true.
In the back seat. The front seat, normally there's a seatbelt you can use, but in the back seat where you put your kids, sometimes there aren't any seatbelts available for them. So again, that's just something you would have to get adjusted to, used to. If you feel like you're not comfortable with it, then definitely sit in the back seat with your child and hold them on your lap if you're small enough. The only one small enough may be Bryson. He's 6, but he's getting a little too big to be sitting on my lap. But that's the other, kind of thing you got to keep in mind. Like, it may not be a seatbelt. So just kind of have to have that faith and trust that everything is going to be okay.
Yes.
And that's a difference from us coming from the States.
And the driving here is completely different.
And the driving is completely different as well. Yes.
That is an adjustment that you'll have to get to, because I personally, in my experience, I feel like some of the traffic signals and signs are suggestions. They're not necessarily mandated. Stop signs especially. There are a lot of rolling stops, or just I'm gonna honk my horn to let somebody know I'm not stopping at the stop sign. We're cruising right on through. So those are some things that you want to also be mindful of. And while we're talking about transportation, I want to get into, and you touched on this a little earlier, but there are different rideshare apps that you could use. There's here that we use that are really popular are Uber, which is in the United States as well. You have Didi and
InDrive.
Yes, InDrive. And InDrive is really cool because you can actually bid on or make a bid for your ride. In other words, you can go on Uber and see how much at that time of the day the ride is costing you. You can go over to Didi and make a bid for a lesser amount and see who takes the ride, and you can kind of finagle your way to get a cheaper ride.
However, with InDrive, you have to have cash. So you have to pay with cash. You cannot pay with card. So if you ever come here and want to use InDrive, just keep that in mind.
Let's talk about cash.
Okay.
Because that goes back a little bit to public safety and situational awareness. Only have enough cash for what you need and maybe a little more, because that's another reason to be targeted, especially if you're out in public and people see you with a fat wallet with all of your cards or with a lot of local currency. People are always watching, and especially if you move a little different, if you walk a little different, they think that you are a foreigner. They are looking at you, whether you notice them or not, they notice you.
Right.
So be mindful of how much cash you have on you. And I would highly recommend not carrying all of your cards on you, your credit cards, your debit cards, 1 or 2 for what you need for that day, and whatever else you have, keep it safe at home, your Airbnb, your hotel, wherever you have that may be safe, because you could lose everything in a matter of a split second because somebody notices that you came out and you were don't be a papaya is what they say here, and I just learned that. Thank you, Kelly. But don't be a papaya is the term here is that they use here in the city, which is don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. Don't
be a target.
Don't be a target. Don't make yourself a target. And carrying all your valuables will make you a target. And that even goes into brand clothing. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So, was this one of the other categories? Or no, this is still a part of one of our.
We went back.
So
yes.
we were back. Okay, I want to make sure I didn't skip anything. But yeah, like you have to. Not that people don't dress nice here. Trust me, people do dress nice here, okay? However, they don't wear the name brand things that we may see in the States. Like, they're not walking around with Gucci all over, drip down, or Louis Vuitton, or da-da-da-da. Like, you may see a shirt with something on it or whatever.
But it's brand, a little bit.
Yeah, but it's nothing where you're going to see somebody wearing a whole bunch of logos and symbols and all of that all over
jewelry,
themselves.
iced out.
Exactly. Don't do it.
Don't come here
Don't do that. You can do that in the United States, and you can still be a target in the United States doing that. However, definitely do not come to Colombia, period. I'm not going to even just say Medellin. Don't come to Colombia with that stuff. Even wedding rings, because I have rings and different things that I still have, but I never wear them out.
Yes.
Now, I do know some women who will wear their wedding rings out when they're with their husbands or their partners because they feel more safe and protected. But I'm here by myself with two little kids. I'm not wearing that stuff because I can't. Again, that's something I don't want to bring attention to myself. I want to blend in as much as possible. Not to say that the Colombian people don't have jewelry and wear nice things, because they do. However, it's a difference. It's more subtle, and they know what to do and what not to do. And plus, this is their country. This is their community. They know what to do, just like we know what to do in the United States in different communities and areas. So, I can't put myself in the same category as a Colombian because that's not what I am. So, those would be some big tips. Leave the nice jewelry at home. Don't bring it with you. Even if you bring it with you, I would keep it in the safe. But if I feel like personally, if I have to keep something in the safe, then I might as well leave it at home in the United States if I'm coming for vacation. Yeah. Now, I know we're talking to a lot of people who are thinking about moving. Yeah. So in that case, again, I do still have some of my stuff. I just don't wear it out. And I'll probably end up taking it back to the States and just putting it in my safe there in storage, because there's no reason for me to have it. And it's just sitting here doing nothing, just stored away.
I agree. My nice jewelry, even my wedding ring, I know I do not travel with it because it would cause a lot of attention. I do not travel with certain things, and I just keep them back home locked up. And it's interesting because we still wear rings. We still wear rings. Yeah. But it's interesting because those are things that we value as Americans. It's like a status. It's my partner, and it symbolizes so much more than just being a piece of jewelry, but also understand that your life represents so much more than that piece of jewelry. So you just don't want to be out being a papaya or being
a target
or ignorant in these Medellin streets.
No, you don't. You don't. Because you will get got.
Yes.
And that's just the reality of it.
It is a reality. And speaking of Medellin streets, we're going to go into tip number 3.
Yes.
Which is...
I thought this was 4.
Is it 4?
Environment. Well, no, 3.
It's 3.
Okay.
So tip number 3 is the environmental tip, being as a family and living in Medellin, Colombia. Now, I want to start by saying, again, I have 2 very small children, and we walk everywhere. We walk a lot of different places. And with that, we have a stroller. I have a double stroller, and we push it around. The sidewalks are not meant for us here. They are not meant for the bikes, for the scooters, for the strollers, for the wheelchairs, for the walkers. They are not meant. You can get a nice little stretch of a sidewalk, but a lot of the sidewalks are
broken.
They're broken up, cracked concrete, uneven, and even there's stairs on the sidewalk. So because this is a hilly place, sometimes you'll be at a level point, and then there'll be stairs that dip down, and they're pretty steep. And so it's just not the best place to have strollers, bicycles, anything with wheels. Ironically, the streets are safer to walk on when you have anything with wheels because of the way that they're designed. So a lot of people, like myself, like my family, will walk on the street, but close to the sidewalk. That's the safest place to walk. And a lot of the locals know that here, so they're very mindful. That's one thing that I really love. They're very mindful. The drivers are very mindful of pedestrians with children. If you're just a pedestrian, no. Pedestrians with children or elderly people or anybody with wheels, they're very mindful of how they navigate, because the driving here can be a bit much. It can be a bit much. So they're usually mindful with anybody who's pushing anything with wheels, or elderly and people with children.
And one other thing we have to mention is sometimes you'll be walking down the sidewalk and there's a random hole. Like it should be covered. It may be a utility or sewer, something. I don't know, but it will be a hole that you have to really make sure if you yourself and your small children that you don't like twist your ankle or step into it or fall or whatnot. Even we were walking last week and we took my youngest son with us, and he has a little scooter. And they know, like at certain points, you just got to get off the scooter and walk because you can't. And we were on the sidewalk, so it's just like you just can't. And he even fell, twice, a couple times. He fell, but he gets right back up. He's used to it. But those are the things, those are the things you have to really keep in mind, especially if you are a parent who is very, very cautious and very worried about the safety and their children getting hurt. Yeah, this is not the place you're gonna be. It's not gonna put you at ease here. Put it like that.
You cannot be a helicopter mom here. No. You just understand there's gonna be some scrapes and bruises. They'll be okay. But it's about educating our children to understand that the sidewalks here are different. The landscape is different, and it is literally a concrete jungle. And I say that jokingly because of how broken up the sidewalks can be, the concrete in the sidewalks can be. But you look up and you see this beautiful jungle because it's the scenery of all of these beautiful, luscious green leaf trees and bushes and plants.
Yeah, it is flowers and all kinds. I mean, it's beautiful.
It's green, it's plush, it's beautiful. If you love nature, this is a place that you'd want to be here. It's a city, but it's also filled with a lot of nature, a lot of plants, a lot of greenery, birds, just beautiful.
Yep. So is there anything else? We talked about the motos, we talked about sidewalks. Anything else environmental that we want to mention? Okay, I can mention this a little bit. I live in the barrio or neighborhood of Laureles, and this is a flat neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So I can tell you definitely, like at night or in the morning, I don't know if it's smog or if it's pollution, but there's a smell. Like it's a smell in the air. Mm-hmm. It almost reminds me of exhaust fumes. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking what happens, and I could be totally wrong, but I'm thinking because we're at the bottom of the mountains, that it think like something in the air kind of settles.
Mm-hmm. I can see
and then it goes away. So I kind of just wanted to mention that because there may be people with respiratory issues and different things like that. Yes. I don't know if that would affect you or not, but I do want to mention it just to keep in mind, even when you come visit, if you visit this area, the barrio of Laureles, you may experience that and see how you feel. Have you ever noticed that or no?
I have noticed that, and I'm glad that you said that because I think it's important for us to even outline the way Medellin is landscaped. I lived in Louisiana, I lived in New Orleans for quite some time. So anybody who understands New Orleans understands that it's a bowl. It's a bowl. It's a bowl city. I feel like though with New Orleans, you hear that it's a bowl, but you don't actually see, you don't physically see when you're out in the city that how shaped of a bowl it is because it is below sea level. Now, being in this city of Medellin, and because it's so hilly and there's high altitudes, you absolutely see what she's talking about. We both live in this area called Laureles. It is a bowl, and you can clearly see all of the landscape that goes up in the mountains, and it comes down to a peak, and that's where we live in Laureles. So I think it's important to understand that about the city, and I can see that my youngest daughter has had respiratory issues, and we had to get surgery and handle that. And I've heard quite a few people complain about the allergies and having more sinuses in this area, and that could be due to the settling of whatever is in the environment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anything else you can think of? Because that was it for me as far as environmental safety.
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
But we can do a part 2.
I was about to say, and if something does come up or people do have comments or questions or want to know something else, we can always talk about that on another live.
And ask us questions in the comments too. Don't be afraid to ask us questions, and we can answer those in the comments.
Yeah, if you're seriously like out here trying to figure out where you want to go, if you're interested in moving out of your country, your home country, and just you're trying to explore and learn as much on YouTube as possible, because that was me trying to learn as much on YouTube as possible from other people who were in the location before I got there to check it out for myself. Please feel free to ask us questions, and we'll try to the best of our abilities to get those answers for you or to you. Okay.
Awesome. So now we're down to number 5. We talked about number 1, public safety, situational awareness. We talked about 2, your phone safety. We talked about 3, environmental safety and the concrete jungle of Medellin. We talked about number 4, the transportation safety here and being mindful of how you use transportation. And so now we're going to get into number 5, which is your drinks and your personal space. And it's more so, let's say your social safety when you go to social settings. And
social settings with people you don't know. So we're talking about bars, restaurants, clubs. Yes. We're not talking about going to your friend's house to hang out.
Okay. And we know we're all families here, but sometimes you just need a good date night. And sometimes you just want to get out. Maybe even a solo night, a mommy day, a daddy day.
I was about to say, or just out by yourself, period.
But this is the number 1 tip that may possibly save your life. So we're going to get into it. And that is the social safety and being mindful of what you're consuming, who you're around, going back to that situational awareness. And there is a target on foreigners here, especially single foreigners and a lot of single men. And it's interesting because back in the States, we hear of date rape and date rape drugs, and it's usually roofies, yes. And it's usually targeted toward women. Mm-hmm. Oh no, but that's not the case here. Here, they target men because they know some men come here with
a lot. Let's be for real about it. It's a lot.
Some of the passport bros, they come here looking for a good time, and they come to the city to have a good time, and the city has a good time with them. Yes. Okay? Yes. And what I mean by that, there is a drug, it's called scopamine. You can look it up online. But scopamine, and what happened is a lot of these men will come and they will get scoped. That's what they call it, scope. And it's an odorless, tasteless drug that is slipped into a drink, or it's so undetectable that maybe a lovely, beautiful lady may put some on her shoulder and reach to get a hug, and you breathe it in and you have no idea.
Or skin contact. You get some skin
contact, and you have no idea that you've been drugged. And it's a type of drug that doesn't exactly put you out, but you're under a spell. That's the best way that I can explain it, because most of the time, depending on, because it impacts everybody differently who comes in contact with it, but most people still can walk or stagger along. They look like they're cognizant, but they're under a spell to where you can be coerced to do things you wouldn't typically do. For example, let's go to your hotel. You've just been scoped. Let's go to your hotel. You're thinking you're gonna have a good time. Let's go to the hotel. The families are probably not thinking about this, but for your people who come in to visit you, they need to know this. So
right.
That they take you to your hotel, and they then take all of your valuables, your credit cards, your laptops, all of your electronics,
anything that's of value.
Mm-hmm. They will even coerce you to go to an ATM and withdraw money, and you're thinking that would never happen to me. But you're under a spell. You don't even know that. You don't remember doing this. You might remembering like navigating from wherever that social environment was and leaving, but after that you don't remember what you're doing. So they're coercing you. You have your PIN number memorized in your brain, so they're just like suggesting you to do things, and you just naturally do it. So it's a really dangerous drug here, and they usually tend to target single men or passport bros or people who are just not being smart and using situational awareness. So you just want to be mindful of that, because this usually happens in places that are highly tourist populated, which is Provenza area, which is in Plebado. High tourists. And these people, this is what they do for a living, and they make money doing this. So Do not fall victim of those schemes.
Yeah, it happens to women too. It's just not as often for women. And we are mentioning this because we know, like we said earlier, there are going to be times where you want to go hang out with your friends here by yourself without your kids, or your friends may come in town and you want to show them a good time. So it doesn't matter if you have a family or not. These are things you really have to be careful of, because I know if you've been doing your research, you've heard about people coming here who are getting drugged. Some of them die. A lot of people end up dying because they give you this drug. They don't know what other medications you're on. They don't know what your health conditions are, what you maybe have going on internally. They're just trying to get what they can get from you. So a lot of people have died because they've been drugged and their bodies, didn't react in a good way, which your body's never going to react in a good way to be a drug. But however, it causes them to pass away. That's how severe it is.
Yes.
So you definitely have to be careful and conscious. We're not here to say don't go out, don't have a good time, but you do need to be careful. You do. Mm-hmm. That's just the reality of it. I am a person that I don't really go out because I'm past that stage in my life going out.
Both of us are,
and doing things. However, we do have friends, and we may get invited to some activity, but it's a group of us. It's not us going by ourselves, or it's not us going with people who don't know anything about the city and we're the only ones who live here. No, we're normally going to go out with people who already live here, and we're in a group, so everybody's going to look out for each other and make sure we're okay. So,
which leads me to connect with a social group that you feel comfortable with and safe with, and make sure that y'all have each other's back. Families. Kelly and I, we lean on each other from time to time, and we're families here, and trying to navigate the city just like anybody who is new to the city, and trying to understand, how can I grow my family here? How can I build on some different morals and values that I want to instill in my children? How do I do that together? And being a part of a village and creating a village and community is really important. And when you do that, some of these things you just really don't have to worry about. But that leads me to a bonus tip. Okay. And this bonus tip is for all my single ladies. All single ladies. It's for the single people, men or women alike. And this is probably one of the solo travel tips. I don't know. But a lot of times people come to and travel to different cities, and they want to have a good time. They want to meet the local people. They want them to show them around. These dating apps.
Oh, yeah.
The Tinders, the Bumbles, I don't know, because I've never had one of those accounts. I don't know I know some of them because of what people have told me. But these are the places where some of these people who are scheming to lure you out and drug you, this is where they hunt. So just be mindful of that, and have boundaries that you've created for yourself that will help you navigate a city as big as Medellin when you're solo traveling, so that you can be as safe as possible. If that's sharing your location with someone, if that's, hey, I'm here at this bar at this time, I'm meeting up with someone, just have a safety net so somebody at least knows where you are, because you just never know what can happen. So that's the bonus.
The bonus tip. Yes. And I know we are giving you like all of these safety tips. Again, you have to have safety precautions anywhere you are in the world. We are just giving you our perspective from this city of Medellin, Colombia. What we are telling you isn't any different than any probably local would tell you. Yeah. They will probably tell you more because I've definitely been in a DD and the driver is dropping me off like, oh, this is where you going? Okay, you may not want to speak English. Don't speak English or keep your mouth closed. Even though I didn't feel like I was in any kind of danger. I'm, a community I'm used to going to on a regular basis. I'm not worried. I'm still not worried. I still go there all the time. However, everybody has their own perceptions of places and things and all of that. So yeah, they will tell you, probably have you more scared than we will.
Because this is their city and they know.
This is their city, they know. However, I also feel like coming from the States, we are exposed to so much that they're not exposed to here. That I think it has become normal or it's not as big of a deal for certain things to happen. For example, the mass shootings, like that happens all the time in the United States. That does not happen in Colombia. So when we hear mass shooting, we're like, oh, another mass shooting. However, probably a local would say, oh my gosh, how, like that could never happen here. Like they will be super shocked, So it's just you got to kind of look at the perspective of things when we're talking about safety and how we react or how we respond or not respond, because we are coming from different perspectives. We are, but there are so many. Again, this was my point. Even though we're talking about the safety, we don't want to scare you, for one, because there are a lot of people who do get scared about coming here because they listen to the history or they know about the history of the city, even though the city has turned itself around. Yes. However, it's still stuff that goes on, in the city, just like it does in the United States and any other city. Okay. We got drug dealers, we got meth, we got cocaine, we got all of that in the States. Okay. Same stuff. It's not, you know who to be around and who not to be around. Same thing here, right?
Same.
But I would like for you, yes, to be cautious, but still enjoy the beauty of this city, because it is. I don't want to leave. I'm good. I don't care. We've sat here and told you all these things. However, it doesn't.
We still feel safe,
right?
We still feel safe.
I'm still here by myself as a single parent with 2 kids, and I'm still good.
And I will say this: the media has a way, and we know this, propaganda. It has a way to blow things out of proportion. And if you ask anybody, most people here and a lot of expats, they will tell you they feel a lot safer here than they do in the United States. If there's anything concerning an American, a Canadian that's here and something happens to them and it makes national, international news, it's unfortunate. And I'm sorry that those things happen, and they do happen. A lot of it, though, then the following news lines is blowing it out of proportion. And I will go on the record of saying this city don't want those people here. The people who are looking to come here and have a good time in the way that to just come and use up resources, and
let's be clear about it. People who are coming here to enjoy prostitution,
get high, sex,
do
drink,
all the things they don't
want you here. They don't. I mean, they'll take your money for sure, but they don't.
Or your life,
but they don't value those people who come here just to take advantage of those things. So, and they will blow it out of proportion on the media outlets, and especially when it gets to the U.S., it's blown. A lot of things are blown out of proportion for fear mongering. They don't want you to get out and travel and experience the beauty of being in a place like that. And for anybody who is a part of sharing that fear of you shouldn't go there because I heard this and I heard that, I would say stop doing that and check out the place for yourself first, because a lot of what you are hearing is blown way out of proportion. I'm not saying to not use that to navigate and be vigilant when you're out and about, but sometimes you have to take those things with a grain of salt and understand, is that even the lifestyle that I'm living? And most of us that are here are not living those types of lifestyle where you can even find yourself in a situation such as that.
Right.
But
yeah, because I know for myself, I've never partied in Provenza because I don't want to. And again, I'm just not in that stage of life. We're parents. I'm past that. I did that in my 20s and 30s. So yeah, that's just not where I am. So definitely, I agree with what you're saying. The media does blow it up. Things do happen here, but it's again, I don't feel like it's anything as bad as what we have seen and experienced in the United States.
That part.
I don't feel like it's anything like that.
That part.
Someone stealing my phone is not as bad as someone rolling up on me, putting a gun to me and pulling me out my car and stealing my car or taking my life because they want to get something I have, because that happens in the States, like
more often.
I didn't go out at night in the States walking around. I did not, even in my neighborhood. I mean, I know some people may do that, but I did not, because again, that to me, that's part of safety as a female. I'm not doing that. I don't do that here.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I don't feel like I would be in danger here, but I mean, it's just something I don't do. So if I didn't do it there, I'm not doing it here.
Mm-hmm.
So anything else we want to add? This one's not going to be as long as the last couple lives.
That's it.
Wrap it up. We're going to wrap it up because though we just wanted to hit the key points. And we don't want to focus on the negative because there's so many positive things about this city and the people who live here, who are from here. That's the things those are the things we want to focus on more. But we do want to make you aware that you do have to be precautious.
Yes. And with that, we are Mamas Beyond the Matrix. And today was your 5 tips, and we are out.
Bye.
Bye.